Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. This is HD, and I'm here to bring you guys the fourth game from Semi-Final B between Creator.Prime and MarineKing.Prime. And Creator is going to be the blue Protoss at the top right-hand corner. The map is Cloud Kingdom. Big map. And down at the bottom left, we have his opponent, the fierce Terran MarineKing.Prime. And if you guys haven't seen the first 3 games of this set, this is a best of 5, by the way. I definitely advise you guys to stop this cast right now, stop this YouTube video, go back and watch games 1 through 3, because especially the last game, absolutely fantastic. All the games have been really good, but especially the last game, totally action-packed. Couldn't ask for much more in such a densely action-packed battle between these two guys, who are in-house teammates, by the way. Backtracking just a bit, why would you guys be watching this game last? I notice a lot of times people, when they watch my cast, they watch the last video first, or they just watch the last video. But, you know, sometimes the best cast isn't the one at the end, it's actually the one in the middle. The best games are sometimes the ones in the middle. So, you know, it's kind of like reading the last chapter of a book. Like finding out someone really important dies at the end of Game of Thrones. I didn't want to say the actual person who died because I didn't want to spoil it for you guys, but it's kind of like that, you know, you don't want to spoil the ending for yourself. Anyways, getting back to this game at hand here, we do have the probe coming inside the Terran main and checking on what's going on. MarineKing here opting not to go for the command center first opening he did last game, rather gonna go barracks and then gas, and this is not the same as the time he went gas and then barracks. Very important difference here, because when a Protoss sees that your barracks isn't done yet and your gas is fully mining, that sets alarm bells off, and that's what prompted Creator to throw down the forge, cancel the Nexus, get a photon cannon at the front door, because he just didn't know WTF was happening. But this time, he knows, you know, he sees that it is a 1 base opening, probably going to be a 2 racks expand, and there we can see the 2nd racks coming up right now for MarineKing. Either it's a 2 racks expand or it's a fast starport build. And for the Protoss right now, it's going to be very important for him to scout and confirm, is it a command center coming up, or is it a starport coming out? And for now, he's also on 1 base, and he knows that the command center isn't going to be coming right away, so both these players actually going for a 1 base build, which is it's a nice switch up. We didn't see this, or we haven't seen this yet, as Marines starting to make their way across the ramp. And a lot of times when Terran goes 2 racks opening here, they can open up 2 racks aggressively, or they can open up with a more defensive 2 racks for the security of the natural expansion. And a lot of that comes down to what upgrade we see first. Is it concussive shells or stim? And since it is stim pack, most likely going to be a defensive 2 racks here, because stim takes so long to finish. Concussive shells is very fast. If concussive shells comes out, then you can come out with like a Marauder, couple of Marines, pressure the front door of the Protoss player. But for now, it certainly looks like we're going to have a more conservative opening from MarineKing. And I say that with a bit of a hesitation, because you never know what MarineKing is capable of, you know? He can do whatever he wants, man. He is MarineKing.Prime! And for a while was known as Optimus Prime, given to the name of the best player in the house. And it looks like one Stalker here going to pick off this SCV, which will make its way inside the main base just barely, and sees the Nexus coming up. So now MarineKing says, aha, I know you're getting a Nexus, and it is a 3-gate expand. So if MarineKing is really good with his timings, and he saw where that Nexus was in terms of HP and shielding, he could then be able to infer what build came before this. And it's definitely not a 1-gate expand, because the Nexus would have been done by now. Both these players actually going for, you know, pretty conservative expansions where they have a lot of forces to back themselves up with. So we might see a lot of bloodshed to open the game up with here. In fact, you know, you don't see too many Protosses do 3-gate expand. A lot of Protosses now opt to just open 1-gate expand because it's more economical. But, you know, against MarineKing, man, it's always better to be safe than sorry. And for now, because the Protoss did go 3-gate expand, they're going to have the opportunity to move out across the map. Maybe even poke in and do damage. They can go into a 3-gate pressure mode. And I would add on, it might be a good idea, you know, I'm always a big advocate for MarineKing to throw up a couple bunkers here. It definitely does not hurt to have a couple of extra bunkers sitting around protecting your main base. And it looks like we do have a starport coming up right now for MKP. And that's a pretty good idea. He's going to want to get some medevacs out so that he can mobilize his Marines and be able to heal them at will. Obviously, that also means you can stim at will as well. Oh, that poor probe didn't even make its way past the front door. And I don't think it saw the natural, but I think by the number of Marines and Marauders at the front door, in a way, it kind of says, okay, probably he's defending a natural, but in a way as well, it also says, well, I don't really know what's going on. So Creator has to be pretty careful here. And it looks like he's adding on a pretty fast Colossus support bay, or robotic support bay, whatever you want to call it. I always call it the Colossus bay. Whatever other important unit comes out of there besides the Warp Prism, and you rarely ever see that. But this is interesting because I was thinking in a prior game, Creator was going to go for the fast 2-base Colossus, and he ended up going for Blink and Charge on Archon instead. This time, though, he is going to go for the 2-base Colossus. Very, very fast Colossus, but I do feel like this leaves a window of opportunity for Terran to make an attack against you. Before you can get a significant number of Colossus out, before you can get Extended Thermal Lance out, Terran has this window of opportunity to attack. Look, there really isn't much at the front door. And when Protoss go fast Colossus, they oftentimes skip sentry production. And that means less force fields. And force fields are crucial to defending any type of Terran pressure. And right now, MKP has started to push out across the map and has realized, hey, Protoss hasn't made that attack you expect him to make, so he's got to be teching up back at home. And the factory here is going to confirm there is a very fast Colossus on the field. And now MarineKing.Prime knows that he has an opportunity here to push in and make something happen. Force fields, not really going to be too much of a worry, because he can lift him into the medevacs and then save them in case he gets cut off. So this is going to be a pretty good spot for Marine King. There's only one Colossus out on the map right now. Thermal Lance isn't done yet, and he's going to go ahead and lift up into a medevac and go into the main. Remember, this is what Marine King does against Protoss. He likes to split the attention of the Protoss, hopefully pull more units than the Protoss needs to pull back at home, and then attack through the front door with his army. For now, though, it doesn't look like Creator has pulled more than he needed to. Just a Zealot and a Colossus. Doesn't get more cost efficient than that. Warping in a couple Stalkers now to keep the medevac away. And right now, MKP trying to poke in through the front door, but it looked like he wasn't able to really get much out of that. And now Colossus production is getting a little scary. You know, there's that window when Terran can make an attack, but after that window subsides, all of a sudden things get very scary for a Terran player as the Protoss feels that wave of confidence. They know, and Creator knows, he's got Colossus coming, he finished Thermal Lance, and now he can round out his tech. He can get Charge on Archon, he can get Blink, he can get his upgrades, and that's what we kind of see going on right here with this Colossus on the field. It's really hard for Terran to do anything about that, and it actually forces MKP here to start making Vikings, which, you know, this early on kind of hurts his Marine Marauder production. And oh, got to be careful here. You know, you only got 2 Vikings last game when MKP went in with more Vikings than that. He had like 5. He wasn't able to kill off the Colossus in time. This time he's only got 2. That's 1 Viking per Colossus, and that is not nearly enough to hold off this much firepower. You can't hold off firepower of that magnitude. Admiral Akbar is like my iconic movie hero. But yeah, right now MKP knows that he is in a little bit of trouble. He's behind in tech, I think, against a Protoss player, and he's going to want to start to round out his tech. He needs Viking production faster. He needs to get his +1/+1 out sooner. Unfortunately, when you fall behind in those +1/+1 upgrades against Protoss, you're never catching back up because of Chrono Boost. So Marine King right now, I think, is a little scared, you know? He doesn't have the 3rd base yet, and Creator has the 3rd coming up. Let's see inside the main. Did he build a macro CC? And, you know, I don't see one. So MKP right now still operating off of 2 bases. The observer positioning as well, pretty damn good from Creator. And it doesn't look like MKP sees the blur. It's so hard to see, man, against that crystal. Complete. So MKP right now doesn't know that his army movement is being tracked and all information being sent back home. And Creator totally prepared for any type of attack in the front door. There's the observer moving, though, and when it's in movement, in motion, it's much easier to catch. And MKP was able to catch that out right there. So now his army movement is hidden to the enemy player, unless there's another observer on the map, which there is. And so Creator knows what's going on here. He can position his army accordingly. Charge is not done yet, so he doesn't have the ability for his melee units to get up into the fray right away. He's got to be careful as well because the Viking count now has built up to a significant size. Force fields come out. Not the best force fields, though. Only really cutting off like 2 Marauders and 2 Marines. Would have liked to see more when you expend that much energy. 3 or 4 force fields right there. But he's got plenty more force fields. He's got plenty more where that came from. And as long as Creator places very safely and accurately places down the force fields in a way that cuts the Terran army off, then he should be okay. Both these players just dancing on the edge of fire right now, on top of a lava pit, man. They're ready to go at it. They're ready to claw at each other's throats. They're just waiting, man, for that signal fire. When will the signal fire be lit? And Creator sends out another observer just to chill over the Terran army. Meanwhile, Marine King builds another command center. He is behind in a base right now, and he is falling behind in economy, so he needs to get that base up as quick as possible. And right now going to go in with the Vikings. Going to go for a snipe against the Colossus. Picks off one of the Colossus. Very nice snipe by Marine King, just kind of chilling there with his Vikings. And he's going to kill off the Colossus very quickly this time, unlike the last game. But those force fields are incredible. Wow, those force fields are so good. And just due to raw force field ownage, Creator is going to be able to crush this army. Those force fields were oh so good. And now MKP has to fall back. He's tucked his tail and is starting to run away, rallying all of his reinforcements back over to the natural, to the front door. Has to be careful. You can't afford to lose any of his forces. Lost a medevac. And now all of a sudden the table's turning. Will Creator.Prime finish out the turnaround, the comeback, as I said before? And will he be able to close out this set to face off against Nurchio in the grand finals of this tournament? This is really incredible play by Creator. Every time, you know, in the last couple of games you thought he was behind, he was able to pull a comeback. This time, he played a straight-up solid PvT, went for the fast Colossus, it paid off, huge dividends, and now he's going to maintain that one base advantage over Terran. And, you know, it all adds up, man. Creator is looking great this game. MKP gotta be a little bit worried right now against his teammate, Creator.Prime. Doesn't want to drop this game. He's trying to get 2-2 out right now, but does he even realize that while his 2-2 is about to finish, 3-3 is gonna finish. Actually, before his 2-2 finishes. So this is just, you know, adding insult onto injury. And when you look at all the tabs, man, the units lost tab, the army tab, not much favors Marine King. Not too sure if anything favors Marine King, in fact. So I'm not too sure what he's going to be able to do at this point. I would love to see him start to incorporate some ghosts. If he sniffs out any Templars, that is going to be an absolute necessity. But even if he doesn't see any Templars on the field, ghosts are still so good to have for that EMP. You can eliminate force fields from the game. You can deplete half the effective HP of a Protoss player's army. Even without Templar being a threat, I think ghosts are still very, very good to have. And right now this factory is going in there to check what is going on in there. How many Colossus? How many Templar? No Templar, and no, not too many more Colossus, so it's pretty much purely Charge-Out Archon right now. And against Charge-Out Archon, a couple of ghosts are nice, but more importantly, what you want against that kind of army is just straight-up raw Marine Marauders to the maximum. A heavy emphasis, I think, on Marauders, because they can kite the melee, the Charge-Outs and the Archons for a pretty long time. But Creator does have 3 Immortals here, and they are the anti-armor against Marauders. So this is going to be a big battle here. Creator feeling like he's got the edge, and he does. He's got an extra base over the Terran. Gonna go into the 3rd base here, and at the same time, MKP says, yeah, screw it. I'm not gonna attack your army head-on. I'm gonna go for a base race, and he's pulled a good chunk of his SCVs as well. Oh man, MKP, I actually think it's kind of smart because he knows he can't win a straight-up battle against that Protoss army. He has to go for the base race, and he's gonna get the Templar Archives before Storm finishes. And that is so big. Now his Marine Marauder Ball, which is pretty weak and susceptible to Templar Storm, no longer has to face that threat. Now he's just got to win the base race. And Terran is pretty damn good at base racing because they can lift off all their buildings. And MKP has lifted everything off right now. This is going to be absolutely insane. It's a race to the finish right now. Harvesters don't really even matter at this point. They're just fodder units to take the brunt of the damage before they explode. And it looks like, you know, some of the Terran buildings did die off, but the majority of them are going to get out alive here, or at least a good chunk of them will, as they are being attacked as they're floating away. But MKP is just kind of fighting off whatever buildings he can. He's being as cost efficient as possible, killing off buildings with SCVs, killing off bases with his army, but he's run into a wall of cannons here. Very smart by Creator to throw up as many cannons as possible to put a stop to the base race and halt the Terran advancement. And now his Protoss army has returned to where his cannons were warping in. Oh, so smart by Creator, because he will have a base mining up here, and behind that base, he's got another base over here. So smart by the Protoss player. The Terran cannot mine, and the Protoss will continue mining on 2 bases, and Marine King, realizing that he cannot punch a hole through this army to get to the fresh underbelly, the softness that is the Nexus, has to figure something out right now. Going after pylons in the middle of the map is not going to be your answer, and these barracks have no place to call home, and now Marine King might just be forced to defend here where his barracks are at. Otherwise, he runs the risk of losing all of his buildings. He's only got 2 orbital commands, and one of them's burning to death. One's just tucked away over here. No mining at all. And MKP decides to pull away, loses all of his barracks, and now has no way to reproduce his army. Oh, this is brutal, and the longer he waits, the more money Creator gets, and the more money Creator gets, the more units he can warp out. And so Creator is, the longer this goes on, he is going to solidify this win, and Marine King has to make an attack. He has to try to end the game right here and right now. He does have 1 orbital command. Remember, guys, tucked away. He has 1 back here as well, but the Zealot was trying to kill it off to eliminate it, but the orbital quickly lifts it off, but it's already sustained too much damage, and it will burn, and it will go down. There it is. Boom. Alright, so now MKP only has 1 remaining base. Little does Creator know that it's tucked away right under his chin. But for now, you know, he doesn't realize where it is. So that is basically MKP's only lifeline in this game. He has no other buildings at all. I'm surprised he's not using his SCVs to build something just in case. But maybe he too realizes that he cannot win the base race at this point. He knows his base is mining, and the Protoss is coming in right now. MKP has to take to the high ground. He's got to take cover up there, and this is his only shot. Maybe if Creator decides to ram his way up this ramp and he makes use of the superior positioning, he can win out this battle. But that is a lot of Archons, man. And Archons, you know, they do a lot of good damage to Bio, and they wreck air. So I think right now Creator is in such a good spot. Is Creator going to ram his army up through this ramp to save the remnants of his main base? He really doesn't need to, but he might opt to just do so because he doesn't care. And the scan comes down, the observer gets picked off, so the stalkers can no longer blink to the high ground. Not like Creator would have done that anyways. He probably just wants to brute force his way up first, and there we go. The blink comes out following the Archons and the Charge-Offs running up the ramp, and now the Vikings going to work against Colossus, but there isn't enough Vikings, and the anti-air from Creator destroying the Vikings. He didn't even really lose a Colossus, I don't think. And now MKP in a lot of trouble, has to save what he can into the medevacs. Abandoned ship, save the women and children, and MKP drops off onto the low ground, but immediately encounters a Templar feedback, and more Templars coming in for additional feedback, and the Archons and Colossus are right on pursuit. And Marine King is out of it. That is it. He tried. He even left some SCVs inside the main base to do whatever he could, but it was just not enough. And Creator.Prime is going to take this victory, ladies and gentlemen. I really hope you guys enjoyed this set of games. They were really good. But following this, hopefully tomorrow. It should be tomorrow. I'm getting a lot better. I'm not feeling as sick as I was yesterday, so I should be able to cast the finals tomorrow. It will be Creator.Prime versus Nurchio, Acer Nurchio. So this is going to be an amazing grand finals. I hope you guys enjoyed. It will be Korea versus Europe next, and I'll see you guys then. This is HD, signing out.